Welcome to this explainer. If you've ever woken up and just felt this profound, heavy sense of absolutely nothingness, I want you to know you're definitely not alone. Today, we're diving deep into the neuroscience and the psychology behind feeling completely empty. We're going to play the role of energetic detectives, diagnosing exactly why you might feel dead on the inside, and way more importantly, how we can actually fix it. All right, let's jump straight into this really profound concept. That unsettling feeling of being dead inside, it isn't actually an emotion at all. As the research points out, it's a terrifying absence of inner signals. Just think about it for a second. If you feel sad, well, you know you need comforting. If you feel angry, you know a boundary got crossed. But if you literally don't feel anything, how on earth do you know what you're supposed to correct in your life? You just can't. So, to figure out why you've lost your spark, we need to do a differential diagnosis of your mind. We're going to walk through 5 key areas today: the absence of signals, the serotonin paradox, dopamine and squeezed lemons, escapism and emotional suppression, and finally, the exact steps for reawakening your circuits. Starting with part 1, the absence of signals, diagnosing the numbness. We really need to start our lesson by looking at the actual systems where our feelings are generated. Because here's a crucial takeaway right from the jump. Not all numbness is identical. A really fascinating concept here is alexithia. It perfectly illustrates how higher-order brain functions can leave us emotionally colorblind. Imagine being literally colorblind, right? You can still see objects perfectly fine, but only in shades of gray. Well, alexithia is exactly like that, but for your feelings. You aren't completely void of human experience, but you just lack the ability to perceive the vibrant, full spectrum of emotions. So if someone says they feel dead inside, we have to look across several different levels. The answer could literally be a dysfunction in their brain chemicals like neurotransmitters. Or maybe it's a suppressed amygdala in their limbic system. Or, it might be entirely psychological, like a defense mechanism built up over years and years. Honestly, a lot of the time, it's actually a combination of all 3 of these acting up at the exact same time. Let's move into part 2, the serotonin paradox, looking at the chemical level. We're going to see how our brain's mood regulators can actually end up backfiring on us. You see, our brain is this deeply interconnected web. Over on one side, we have serotonin, which gives us a sense of contentment, peace, and a stable mood. But then over on the other side, we have dopamine and norepinephrine. And these are the ones responsible for giving us that vital arousal, that sense of pleasure, and the actual drive to go out and get rewards. And this dynamically illustrates why medications like SSRIs, which are of course meant to help with depression, can sometimes cause really intense emotional blunting. When the medication boosts your serotonin to make you feel less anxious or sad, it can paradoxically suppress the dopamine and norepinephrine systems. So boosting the peace chemical accidentally shuts down the very chemicals that make you feel awake, aroused, and alive. It's wild, and it's exactly why doctors will sometimes add a secondary medication, like bupropion, literally just to wake those pleasure centers back up. All right, on to part 3, dopamine and squeezed lemons. Let's talk about why you lost your spark. The crucial point here is understanding how our modern world interacts with that reward circuitry, specifically our dopamine. Let's look at the absolute biggest culprit right now, technology. We are constantly attacking our motivation centers with a wholesale bombardment of digital stimulation. Endless scrolling, social media notifications popping up, video games. It's just a continuous, relentless stimulation of our dopaminergic circuits. Imagine your dopamine system is a fresh, juicy lemon. Every single time you scroll, check a like, or binge a new show, you're squeezing that lemon. Chronic tech use just squeezes the lemon completely dry. So when you wake up the next morning and try to find the motivation to work or study or honestly even just enjoy a beautiful day, there's just no juice left. Exhausted dopamine means you have absolutely no drive and zero spark for the real world. Because of this, we really need to make a critical distinction. Take a look at these 2 terms. Are you suffering from anhedonia, meaning your pleasure system is truly broken and you literally cannot feel joy? Or are you just suffering from apathy, which just means your motivation generator is depleted, so you simply have no desire to start doing anything? They often feel exactly the same, but trust me, they are fundamentally different. Here's the ultimate test for you. Think of something you really didn't want to do, maybe going out with friends or starting a new hobby. If you dragged yourself to do it and then found that you actually had fun once you started, well, congratulations, your pleasure circuits are working perfectly fine. You aren't broken. You just have a motivational problem, which means your apathy is just blocking you from taking that first step. Which brings us to part 4, Escapism and emotional suppression, the mind's defense mechanisms. Let's transition from the hardware of your brain to the software. So many of us fall into this trap where we try to skip past the annoying parts of life. We blast a podcast so we don't have to suffer through the pure boredom of washing dishes. Or, if your boss says, "Hey, can we talk?" you just mentally check out before you even step into their office to protect yourself from the anxiety. We are constantly seeking out escapism. And why this matters is just deeply profound. When we try to skip the suffering, we accidentally numb our ability to feel anything at all. You just can't selectively suppress emotions. If you constantly run away from negative experiences and mentally check out of your daily grind, you fundamentally suppress the exact same circuits required to feel the positive, joyful experiences too. Your brain just learns to permanently stay in standby mode. So, Part 5, Reawakening Your Circuits, the blueprint for feeling again. Now that we've diagnosed the roots of the numbness, let's lay out the exact clinical blueprint for reawakening your mind. According to the research, fixing this requires 3 deliberate steps. You basically have to manually jumpstart your brain's dormant systems. So let's walk through these one by one so you can start applying them literally today. Step 1 is option generation. You have to realize that human beings only find the motivation to act when we perceive that we actually have options. Think about pediatricians telling parents to ask their toddlers, "Hey, do you want to put your jacket on first or your shoes?" Just giving a choice creates action. This is exactly why shopping online or swiping on dating apps feels so incredibly easy and engaging, but going to a rigid, repetitive job feels so deadening. It's because you feel trapped without choices. You've got to actively find and create hidden options in your daily grind to trigger your brain's motivation center. Next up, step 2, you have to brutally evaluate the costs and benefits of those options using critical thinking. When you're numb, your brain relies on these knee-jerk emotional assumptions. It whispers things like, "Why bother? Nothing's going to work out anyway." You have to bypass that emotional laziness. Force yourself to logically evaluate the real reward, the effort, and the risk of taking an action, instead of just reacting. And this brings us to the final and probably most crucial piece of the puzzle, learning how to actually consume an experience again. The fancy scientific term for this is the consumptory phase, but we can honestly just call it savoring. You have to stop trying to numb out the boring or uncomfortable moments. Seriously, the next time you wash the dishes, don't put on a distraction. Just wash the dishes. Feel the warm water, let yourself be profoundly bored. Leaning into the dull, raw, unedited moments of life physically forces your brain to wake up. You absolutely must feel the boredom and the discomfort if you ever want to reawaken the emotional circuits that have been asleep for years so you can finally feel joy again. I'll leave you with this provocative thought to challenge your daily habits. What simple, everyday experiences are you mentally checking out of today? Identify them, stop skipping them, and step back into your actual life. I really hope this explainer has given